How many of you feel like you have been doing something for a long time and it's not working out for you? Type in the comments, not working out for you. How many of you feel that you have been pushing yourself so hard that you have begun to hate the goal that you have set up and just want to give all up and just eat ice cream and watch Netflix every day? So type in the comments Netflix and cream, ice cream, ice cream, right? So, so the three things I'm going to talk about today is like how to build a system, how to build a system that works, and the three things which will help you build a system is like the four things needed to build a habit system. Number two is how to go between order and chaos. And number three, how to scale the system that you have built. So you clicked on this video, and if you notice that I put up like a 1,000, against 1,031 out of 1,000, is that I'm focused on uh, making 1,000 videos, and I'm scaling my YouTube production value step by step. So if you notice the thumbnail that I put up, I'm quite proud of the thumbnail. It looks pretty good. So what I'm here to provide you is like some habit advice, like how to design a habit in such a way that you will achieve results. So I'm an architect, been trained for 5 years in architecture school, and I have worked mostly interior design projects. And I'll tell you why that certain fact is relevant to this video. If you notice that most of the interior design that we do is based on a person's habits, like the best designs are. Like we usually there's an interaction with the client, and we get like a thing about what that information about how that client goes throughout the day and how he or she uses the interiors. Basically, Le Corbusier, the French architect, he said that the house is a machine made for living. And this was a time when there was an insane amount of amazing technological marvels happening, like such as like the jet engine was coming up, and like the cars were like getting even much better. Henry Ford came up with the V8 engine, and it rocked their world, right? So it was the Roaring 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and so on and so forth. So I digress. So what you got to focus on to build a habit is that you need to make it, design it so well that it fits you. It's not that you fail. It's not your problem. Like you're not a failure. Basically, it's just that the system that you set up for yourself failed. So in a way, you failed to build a system. So if you get any background noise, it's the rain. So like just to establish that it's nothing weird. It's not an anomaly. So yeah, now that's established, let me keep going. Let me give you like an instance of where I can apply a habit building system, which is based on the habit quadrant, which you will find in several books. So Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit, Neerial's Hooked, How to Build Habit Forming Products, and Atomic Habits, one of the best. Tiny Habits by one of the writers, like DJ Fogg, I think that's his name. DJ Fogg is the guy who wrote Tiny Habits. So there's a lot of habit books, but they talk about the same thing about how to build a habit. A habit is four things. It's a cue. You get like a thought, and there's a neuron activation going on, and you want to like you get a craving, like an attraction or a desire to do a behavior. A behavior which takes you to which do something, and you get a reward which is satisfactory. So that is cue, craving, behavior, reward. So if you flip that into something to build a habit, you got to turn those cues or turn those quadrants into design principles. Basically, it is you got to make it obvious. The cue needs to be super obvious. Craving, it needs to be attractive. It needs to like pull you in. It needs to be the action needs to be so easy that like you can do the behavior. And finally, the reward, it should be satisfying as hell. All right. So so let me repeat: obvious, easy, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. These are the four things. Now, how do you build a habit based on this? Let's start with something which is what everybody wants to do and nobody can get started on. Apparently, it's reading books, fiction, non-fiction, whatever. Like they are not able to keep a consistent habit to read a book. So here, when you apply the habit building system to a book, it goes sort of like this. So like you don't go for like a thick book at first, okay? Like a design of everything is a technical book. It's non-fiction. There's a lot of technical stuff going on, so it might just switch you off. It might not. It may be attractive, but it's not easy. And one thing that you can do is like you can keep the book around wherever. Like that, the cue is obvious, but it does not. Um, Satisfy the condition that it is easy. So you gotta pick something which is like easy, like something like a kid's book. I'm not like kidding. Like if you choose something like horrible science, which is like an easy book and it has pictures and stuff. Look, there's no judgment. Like even if you want to read like a kid book. In fact, like some of the people that I help to build a reading habit, I recommend that they start with Harry Potter, which is a children's book, but it's a phenomenal book. Like it still holds up to this day. Like it was not as if written long time ago. It was written only in 1995, but still it holds up as like an entry point to start reading. It'll help you a lot, to build a reading habit because it is when you look. Is it obvious? Do you keep the book around on a place which you frequent? So like I keep my books on a table where I always walk through. Like I know this is like my path. So you gotta like place that book somewhere in a very obvious place. Is it attractive? Like I find Harry Potter very attractive because it has magic and stuff. It seems very cool, like out there. If Harry Potter doesn't work for you, pick a book which you find interesting. Like do some research. Like go to Goodreads, look for the book that you actually want to read. If you're gonna read non-fiction, great. Like pick a book which is like funny or something that resonates with you. Like find the keywords that you're interested in. This is all needed, by the way. This is like necessary research to build a habit for somebody who is really important, like you. So number 3 is easy. You got to make it easy. If it's not easy, right, you will not do the habit. That's the problem, right? Like people set up like crazy goals that I'm gonna read 50 pages of War and Peace every day. Are you kidding me, man? Like War and Peace is like huge. It's like 1,300 pages. Like it's heavy. So you got to make sure that look, you can do it. Like if you're up for it, you can totally do it. You can finish War and Peace. If you can read like set it up in such a piece that you read 5 pages per day. Make sure that you talk to people who also read War and Peace, and talk to them. Hey, like who's this guy? Who's Prince Andrew Bolkonsky? Like who's Natasha Rostov, and you can have like a 2-and-2 conversation about what's happening in War and Peace. You can do it, but make it easy on yourself. Why do you want to like put yourself straight to like a marathon? Like when you can like finish like a small race and like get a small trophy, and you can scale up to a bigger trophy. So here's the thing. To build a habit, it takes 21 days. That's the foundation. To make it second nature, you need 66 days. So you can keep like set it up like that. So if you start in this month by 21, 21 days later, you can say that's like your level 1. From 21 days to day 66 with the 21 days included. So 66 minus 21, you do the math, but you got to reach day number 66 from day 0 to day 66. That makes it second nature. And from then on, you'll feel like a boss. Like you'll be like, oh, okay, now I have this habit set down. I may have finished a book or 2. Maybe I need to look into the big ones. Like you can do it. You got to make it in such a way that you set up a system where the next book seems okay, much harder than the previous one, like by 1%. But if my experience tells me you start a habit like this, you go for 21 days, you might fail after 21 days. Okay, like it's all right. It's totally normal. You got to start again. Okay, that's the whole point of this. It's not a forget what I said. What I said before, but it's not a race. It's more like a marathon. Like when you build a habit for the long term, you got to think of it in a long term basis. Like you don't see as if I read this book, I'll be like a guy who finished a book. Like there doesn't seem to be a lot of what do you say, reward. Like there doesn't seem to be a short term reward. But reading is more of a long term thing. Like if you read a lot of books. You consider this. If you read a book every day for the next 1 year, next 2 years, it's gonna be like you'll be one of those people who would be like, who do you be? Like, ask yourself this: would you be somebody who's knowledgeable? Would you be somebody who's intellectually attractive to people? That they'll come and ask you about, like, you will have something, conversation starters or whatnot. You can brag on social media, like, hey, look at me, I finished this thing, I finished this War and Peace. I keep bringing War and Peace because I'm reading War and Peace right now. That's the book that came into my mind. So make sure that you make a system that is easy for you to follow. Easy is important. Attractive is another. Like, if you do a habit just because somebody else is forcing you to, the attractiveness of that habit goes to zero. But at the same time, if you are somebody who is agreeable, like you want to, agreeable in the sense, I don't mean it in a bad way. Agreeable is a personality trait where you want to do it to help some other people, or you're doing it for the sake of somebody else, like such as learning to draw to draw a portrait of somebody you like, or something like, or a family member, or, you know what I mean, right? Like, just to draw so that you can make a portrait of somebody for a gift or whatever. So that also works too. Like, that's also, if that's something that's attractive to you, make it start from the most stupidly easy way. Like, just start drawing one day, and the second day start drawing another way. So that's what I did. That's how I practice drawing, and I'm able to do digital art now. I have that confidence now. So build a system that works for you, and like, scale it afterwards, right? So thank you for watching this video if you did, and more, higher production value coming very, very soon. Bye bye.